powers to get to further places in the castle and all that shit. I like that type of gameplay. So you could kind of count number 7 as quite a few games. If you don't like Castlevania Symphony of the Night, you're a fucking loser. It's just one of those games like Final Fantasy VII that everybody likes. And no, Final Fantasy VII is not on this list. But the next game on my list, number 6, is Zelda Ocarina of Time. I had to put this on the list somewhere too. It was really... Zelda Ocarina of Time pretty much changed the way 3D action games were made. It pretty much invented everything. It invented the lock-on targeting. It invented giant open landscapes that you can explore. I mean, the first time you get on Epona and you're riding around the landscape with the sun coming up overhead, it's just amazing. And it's never been seen before. Because you got to remember, this game came out in like, what, 1997 or something? And there was no game to even come close to this when this game came out. In terms of scope, in terms of fun, in terms of everything. This game came out and just changed video games. Some people could say Super Mario 64 kind of did the exact same thing, but Zelda 64 perfected it. Mario 64 was kind of a cock tease, if you will, of what will actually come out in the future with 3D games. I think Zelda pretty much perfected it. And to be honest, it's really the only Zelda game that I've really, really loved in the 3D genre. Ocarina of Time was amazing. I didn't really like Majora's Mask that much, and I was super hyped for that game too, and I didn't like having to be timed through the whole game. I don't like being timed at all. I like to take my time, I like to explore, I like to take the whole game in. And the entire game was just like, hurry up, okay? It should have been called Zelda Hurry Up. Get through this fucking game. What's taking you so fucking long? Okay, because you constantly had to go back in time, you constantly had to be doing this, you constantly had to be fucking checking your watch, okay? I mean, if you can imagine, like, Zelda going around with a wristwatch, you know, checking it every fucking 2 seconds, you know, that's not fun to me, okay? That takes away the epicness of the game. Not to mention that Majora's Mask was significantly smaller than Ocarina of Time, both in dungeon count, and to me, the world was, I mean, it was basically the same world, you know, but with a giant moon coming out of the sky, so fuck that game. Number 5 is Final Fantasy X. And I had to put a Final Fantasy on here somewhere, and I went with Final Fantasy X. I think that probably is my favorite Final Fantasy game. I like the battle system. I like the storyline. A lot of people didn't. Fuck you. Okay? I don't really care. Oh, Final Fantasy VII. Oh, Final Fantasy VII. Oh, do me in the ass, Final Fantasy VII. Oh, stick it in my butthole. Ooh. Okay? Fuck you and Final Fantasy VII. Okay? Final Fantasy VII is good, but people get a fucking grip. Okay? To me, every Final Fantasy after Final Fantasy VII was better than Final Fantasy VII. I liked Final Fantasy VIII better, I liked Final Fantasy IX better, and I definitely liked Final Fantasy X better. Didn't like Final Fantasy XII all that much. 7 is better than 12 in my eyes, but every Final Fantasy before 7 I liked better too. So I liked 6, 5, 4, 3. I didn't really play 3. I did like the first 2 better though. But I don't know. I mean, Final Fantasy X was just a perfect game to me. It was only one of the only RPGs that I replayed through and beat again. That says a lot. It takes a lot for me to replay a game and beat it again, and I did with that game. So, anyways, moving on. The last 4 change a lot, but this is what it currently is in my eyes. Number 4 is Gradius 3 on the Super Nintendo, not the arcade port, but the Super Nintendo version. Even with the slowdown. I had to put a shooter on here somewhere, and if I had to pick one, it has to be Gradius 3 because it was the shooter that got me into shooters. Without Gradius 3, I wouldn't be playing Ikaruga, I wouldn't be playing R-Type, I wouldn't be playing them, blah, 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 okay? That's the game that got me into it. Gradius 3 blew my mind. When I first got my Super Nintendo, Gradius 3 was one of the first games on the system, and I played the shit out of it. Slowdown or not, the slowdown, in my eyes, actually helps the game, because it's so fucking hard anyways, that the slowdown helps the game. It helps you beat the game. So, okay, like I said, I had to put a shooter, so there's the shooter. Number 3 is Chrono Trigger. This moves for my top spot quite a lot. I love this fucking game. Best RPG ever, in my opinion. Okay, no RPG has ever had as good a storyline as this. No RPG has ever had the pick up and play nature of this game. Okay, it's a turn-based game,